Hello, welcome to Should I Buy This Game, featuring the Fox Experiment. My name is Christine, and in this video I'll give you a brief description on how the game is played, and then share a few things I may like or dislike about the game to help you decide if you want to add the Fox Experiment to your collection. Here we have the Fox Experiment, and this game is actually based on a 1958 study in Russia where they tried to breed foxes to make them friendlier and try to domesticate them. So it's sort of interesting. So the first thing we do is selection. And in the first phase, you go in turn order, and you're either picking which, if you want to go first, second, or third. This is for a 3-person game I've set up. So you're picking which selection you're going to go, or you're going to also pick your female and male foxes. And you decide which you want to do in which order as your turn comes around. Now, at the beginning of the game, each person is given a study card, and these are some goals we are working towards. So in this particular card, it really is looking at the barking and the spots, which is the blue and the pink. So when we go over here and we're looking at the wolves available to us, Vera here looks really great because she has 1 blue and 2 pink die. So 3 dice would be really beneficial in those colors. Whereas down here, you have a few choice. This one here has the 2 blue and a pink, so that would be really great. Backup choice would be he has 2 blue, which is really good. And another backup choice is the 2 pink and a beige. So when we look at all the options, I'm sort of thinking Vera is like the female I really want to get, but with the male, there's a few options. So as I say, you go in turn order. So on my first turn, I'd probably be like, I want to get Vera before anybody gets Vera. And I'd put it down into my selection. And then the other people decide what they're going to do, and you go through the turn. And when it comes back to you, because I'm not going to remove everything, maybe somebody else took like the 3 die wolves because they're really powerful. So maybe we'll just take the 2. That's what's left to you. And then up here, when it comes to choose if you want to go like first, second, third, if you want to definitely go first, you don't necessarily get a benefit. But then there's these little tokens. So here you would get 2 of these little things to add to your board. Or here you could get 1 and a science card. And the science cards are down here, and they give you something extra during the game that could really help you along the way. So science cards are great as well. So you may be like, I don't care if I go first, second, or third. I want to get the benefit of the science card as well as the little tail symbol. So you would put your cog here, and then you would get the little piece and the science card into your area. And so that is the selection phase. As I say, you take turns 1 at a time, picking your female, your male wolves, as well as your place for the next round. Next is the breeding phase, but I first want to talk about the upgrade board. So you start by being able to breed 1 wolf. You have 1 study card, which I showed you earlier, and you get 1 die. But then as you collect the trait tokens, you can upgrade and get an additional study card, more dice, and be able to breed extra wolves. So what you need is, for here, you need 2 trait tokens, but they must be of the same trait. And then here is 3 and then 5 to get the bonus points. Now down here at the bottom is sponsors. And the sponsors are over here. And you get to choose which one you want to do. You instantly get the bonus with a science card as well as the bonus on the token. And then it's end of game scoring. You get 1 point for all the spots traits you have on your board. 1 for each of the tail. This is 4 points if you have a set of traits, and 3 points for every column you finish. And it's the column with the 4 spots. So even though, say you have 2 of the tails, you put 1 here and 1 will go back to the supply. And then it's 1 of each of these when you're calculating your end of game points. So we go back to our breeding over here. So we had a blue die with 2 pink and then 2 blue. So I have 3 blue and 2 pink. And we also add in this die that we had. And I remind you of our study card here of what we're trying to get. So I have these cards and they actually have a nice little lamination to them. And so you just write on them with these little markers that they provide. And you name your little wolf. So I like to combine the names to come up with the name. So this one is now called Tovera, even though it is a male. And so what we're going to do is we roll these dice. So it was pretty good. So we have these ones, which are the full traits. This one is a full trait and half a trait. So I could put this one there to get 2 full traits. And then we have this one that is half and our wild die is half. So we look here for our first study, we only need 1 and 2. So we did accomplish that. So when we look at our card, the first row will be, this is a die, and then these are where we get the traits. So if we mark down exactly what we have so far, we have 2 blue and we have 2 full pink. Now I have this wild one, and I can either do another blue or another pink. When I look at my card, I'm going to need 3 for both. So there's not one that leans towards the other. So maybe I'll just do the blue one, just because. And then this wolf here is 5. He has a friendliness level of 5 because 5 things got marked off. Now, so we have those 2 traits I said, so that gets us 1 blue and 1 pink little trait token that we can use later to upgrade. We don't have 2 of one, so we can't upgrade quite yet. And that is how you breed. Now what happens, everybody does this at the same time, and then whoever gets the highest number, a friendliest number, gets to put one of their wolves here, and they will gain 2 points, and the other players get a friendly token. Now this friendly token, what it does is then I could have used this, and I could say this is a friendly token to get a 3rd die. So it's good to save these when you need them, when you're trying to get 3 and 4. You add the friendly token. So the player who doesn't get the points gets a token. And that is about it for the breeding process. The next step is research, and I already actually touched about a few of the things that you do, such as putting your wolf on the friendly track and getting your research tokens. And the one thing though, although I talked about this, I did mention you put your little wolf that I completed that part of my study. And so that's part of research. And then you go to administration, where the 2 wolves that you were dealing with go out of the game. Your new wolf gets put into the game, and the other players would put their wolves into the game. And then you just refill it up until the number of wolves, which is the number of players plus 1. And so that gives you, now you would have like their other wolves in there too. So just so you understand, it's where the squares are that would be dice. So this wolf would now have 2 blue and a pink die on it, because the other were the trait tokens. The other thing you do is you come up here and you clear off if there's any leftover and refresh your tokens. Move that down there. And then you're ready to start the next round, where you'll be picking new wolves again. But now that you start breeding them, and they'll be getting more and more dice each turn, and having your other players here, your wolves will become friendlier and friendlier, and you'll have more dice to roll on each turn. And that is basically how the game is played, and it is played over 5 rounds. So now a few things I like about the game. I really like this game mechanism of how you breed the wolves and then add your cards into the game, and how every game will be different depending on the wolves you breed and how many people are playing and what gets added here. And I really think that's a really unique game mechanism that I hadn't seen before, and I really enjoy doing that. I also like that the study cards give you a focus and a goal. So when you're trying to pick your wolves, you have something to work towards, and gives you something of why you're picking a certain wolf. And the upgrade board is really great too, by being able to do more than one wolf at a time, wolf pup, and then like getting more study cards and getting more dice, all those things you really want. So you're really trying to build up your trait tokens to really gain these upgrades. So my biggest sort of negative on the game or complaint is that although it says it's a game for 1 to 4 players and there is an expansion for 5 and 6 players, it really is a 3+ player game. So I played it solo, and you have to use the AI cards, which is normal. However, when you play it solo, they want 2 females and 2 males based on their own study cards that they have. And I am breeding 2 wolves for them on every turn, whereas I'm only breeding 1 for myself. And for me personally, if I'm doing more work for the AI than I'm doing for myself, I don't really enjoy that. It's not what I want out of a solo game. Other people probably have no problem with it. Just for me personally, it's not how I like to play a solo game. And then if you play, and when you do a solo game, you have to set it up for a 3-player game like I have here. Then if you play 2 players, you have to set it up for a 4-player game, which is an extra wolf. And they have to put dice on certain wolves according to the cards that the AI wants, and they're adding diced cards. So when you're using an AI for a solo and a 2-player game, it really tells me that this game is really designed for 3+ players. So you just want to keep that in mind, that depending on how much you would want to use an AI or not use an AI, for me personally, I don't like AIs that are really involved. I have other solo games I can play. I look forward to playing this when my daughter comes home and the 3 of us can play, because I really enjoy the game, but I really think it's a game for 3 or more players. And that would be my biggest complaint about the game. But otherwise, it's a lot of fun, as I mentioned earlier, and there's a lot I do like about the game. So let me know in the comments below if you've played the Fox Experiment and what you think of the game.